In heaven, it is a Nissan 350Z and me.
If ever there was a case of don't judge a book by its cover, then this is it. Stop thinking about bluebirds and Almiras. Look past the badge. The 350Z is one of the greatest coupes of our time, and more than a match for rivals from BMW or Porsche. And this is the new 350Z. As you can see, they've completely ripped up the rulebook and given us a radical new design.
Well, actually, I can only spot two differences so far. The first being an illuminated ignition switch, and the second, there's a little bulge in the bonnet. Cheeky.
It turns out that 350Z is rising to the occasion because it houses a slightly taller engine. It's still a 3.5-litre V6, but it's 80% new.
The ear-pleasing growl as you floor it still remains the same, and now you get an extra 13 brake horsepower to play with, so you have a grand total of 308. The power delivery is creamy. Not a word that I often use, but very apt for this engine. It is silky smooth throughout all the revs in every single gear. And boy, oh boy, are those gears very long-legged.
So long, in fact, that it'll do 70 miles an hour in second. The other gears are there just to determine the size of the fine. The rev limit has been increased by 500 RPM, so you can now drive it even harder. Great for rev heads like me. It'll keep on screaming till 7,500 RPM.
I must take issue with the gear shift light, though. People should be able to hear when they reach the rev limit and they need to change gear, and not rely on a tiny light to glow red and tell them. Plus, you have to take your eyes off the road to look down at the light.
The engine tweaks make the car only a 1/10 of a second quicker to 62, but accelerating from a standstill gives you such a buzz that 5.7 seconds just isn't long enough. To be honest, not much else about the car has changed in this strict two-seater. The interior design is good, although not quite a match for Audi's TT. And if you want heated leather sports seats, better music and cruise control, they'll cost you another £2.5 grand on top of the £26,795 showroom price.
A car of this calibre needs to be taken on roads like this because its handling is a dream. For starters, the steering is very close to perfection. The faster you go, the less power assistance you get, which means that you end up with a full feel of the tarmac and the tyres. It's real seat of the pants driving. I can feel exactly what all four corners are doing, what the chassis is doing. That is what makes it a fantastic car. The previous 350Z was one of my favourite ever cars, and it's just got better. Hooray! If you're still not swayed, consider this. A 350Z is more powerful and will out-accelerate Porsche's baby coupe, the Cayman, and this will save you £10,000. Like I said, look past the badge.
I'm so glad it's as good, if not better, than the old one.
Oh, yes, indeedy. The 350Z still remains one of my all-time ever favourite cars.
Really, all time?
Yep.
That's a big statement.
It is indeed.
I find it weird that people still don't make the connection between Nissan and sports cars. They still think of Micras, don't they? They still think that Nissan can't do it when they make cars like the 350Z. And next year, we'll be getting the GTR. It's a whole new model, 450 brake horsepower, four-wheel drive, 7-speed sequential gearbox. It's going to be an absolute 911 killer. Porsche, better watch out.
I can't wait to drive it.
Absolutely.
Well, as you can tell, Tom and I are madly, passionately, deeply in love with this car, and that's why it's this week's competition car.
Absolutely. If muscles are your thing, then I can't think of a car that's better, pound for pound, bang for buck. This is the daddy, and now it's your chance to win one.
Remember, it's worth nearly £27,000. For a chance of winning, all you've got to do is answer this simple question. On a UK motorway, which of the following should you use to overtake slower traffic? A, the hard shoulder, B, the outside lane, or C, the central reservation? Call 0901 29 30 555 to enter, or text GEAR plus A, B or C to 81555. Lines close at midday on Monday the 9th of July, and we'll remind you of the numbers at the end of the show. Digital viewers can enter by pressing their red buttons now, and you can also enter online at the 5th Gear website, 5.tv/5thgear.